Welcome to the place where we gain knowledge through the lens of creativity. I am Aaron Dworkin, and this is Artful Science. Thanks again for joining me here on Artful Science. Today's show is using art to communicate science. And my guest is Jenny Mottar, who serves as art director for NASA Science. Jenny, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So, I'm especially excited to have you on the show because we're at the intersection, the show is, of arts and sciences, and literally that is what you do. And so I'm just really excited. So kind of, serving in this role as art director for NASA Science, what does that really mean to be art director? I think there's probably a lot of our audience who didn't know that NASA had an art director. So what does that kind of mean? And what do you do on a regular basis?
Sure. Well, I'm helping establish the look and feel or the visual storytelling element of the strategic messaging or whatever's happening, whatever we're trying to communicate, whatever objectives. So I'm always looking forward to what's happening next year and trying to figure out how to work that into the visual storyline.
Yeah, so it's amazing. So, and obviously you have, kind of this background. I'm curious, how did you kind of come into this role? Like, were you kind of seeking out, like you wanted to do this work related to science, or kind of for you, how did these two kind of passions align?
It's funny, I always loved science in school, but I don't think I realized that this type of opportunity existed. I kind of fell into it almost by accident. An opportunity came up to work at Goddard from a previous client that I had as a web designer, and I jumped at it. I thought, oh, wow, this is NASA. That would be so much fun. And, from then I got to headquarters and just started growing the, different things that I could do for the client at that time because I was a contractor. And yeah, it just grew into what it is today, where we're kind of, everywhere, in the communications.
Right. So, well, it's so exciting. So kind of I've had this opportunity to see some of these truly gorgeous graphics that you have, designed that represent NASA and so many of its missions. And so I guess kind of from the stepping back and looking at the big picture, why is it important to literally illustrate this work of NASA? Like, why is this role of yours important? Why does NASA dedicate funds to this? Why is that important?
Right. Well, if you just had the written word, which is great, I mean, that's perfect if you're already part of the science interested public. You're going to go there and read it. But we're trying to reach everyone. We're trying to reach the people that may not even realize they're interested in science. So we're kind of creating the cover of the book. You pick that book up and buy it because it looks appealing. And then you dig down and you find out, oh, it's actually a really good book. So that's kind of the whole purpose, is try to reach a broad audience.
Totally. And when you kind of do that work, is there mechanics that you're thinking about, or they're kind of driving either aspects of NASA's mission or aspects of design that you're always thinking like, okay, I've got to hit these points to achieve this desired impact?
Yes, and I do sometimes, like when I'm creating the artistic look and feel behind the strategic messaging, I have a list of things that are going to happen next year, and I'm like, how can I meet these objectives? So it's hard to find that kind of line that you have to walk between creativity and being accurate and working with your subject matter experts, and you don't want to miscommunicate something accidentally with the wrong visual. So I work closely with those folks, but I also do try to push that edge and try to bring in a little bit of imagination and fantasy element into it that's really going to capture people. So it is kind of a balancing act.
Yeah, and that is part of what I got, was this sense of kind of almost the fantasy of exploration, right? I get this fantastical, almost science fiction sense of science reality that you're actually depicting. It's kind of interesting.
Right. And like they say, science fiction is often a precursor to science fact. So, that's all part of
True.
the process to engage people's imaginations and make them think of the bigger things that are to come. Right.
Very true. So when you carry out this work, kind of, how does that work kind of functionally? Because I'm wondering and thinking, some people in our audience who might be involved in various aspects of STEM fields and are thinking, you know what? We actually should have an art director. We should kind of think about this. So I'm wondering kind of functionally, as the different missions come up, do you kind of work with that team? Does that team engage you? Do you kind of view them or that particular project as kind of your client for that? Or do you kind of just work at kind of, if you will, a headquarters thing and there's kind of this, that, just kind of wondering functionally, how does that
Right.
unfold?
It's a little bit of both, honestly. I mean, ideally, we'd like to get in from the bottom up when we're creating this kind of visual look and feel for a mission, down to whatever their identifier is, which is basically, the contemporary a logo, but we're making something that's much bigger than that works under the NASA brand. So it's creating that kind of typographical or iconic look and feel, and how it's going to work with NASA's messaging, NASA Science's messaging, from the mission standpoint. But there are also a lot of different things happening at headquarters. We have like anniversaries and agency initiatives, and I've been a part of those as well. So it's a little bit of trying to do set some policy for things and so forth. So it covers a wide gamut of responsibility, and I'm still adjusting to some of it, but it's coming along.
Awesome, awesome. So as you look at kind of your past work, is there anything that kind of stands out that as you look back, you're like, oh, you know what, this one was either particularly rewarding, fulfilling, or, kind of really captured something you were searching for?
I think most recently, I'd have to say the Earth Day poster for the 50th anniversary, which was last year. We had just been quarantined, and it was a month or a little bit over a month from Earth Day, and we had to take all these plans and kind of spin it on a dime to do it virtually from home. And as part of that, our social media team did this NASA at Home engagement, which was amazing. And they asked some of us to create these videos to kind of talk about what we did, and I was asked to do an explainer video on the Earth Day poster, and I have never done anything like that before. So I kind of wrote up my script and produced it from beginning to end, and it was released, and I really didn't expect many people to look at it. But I was so shocked by how wide of a reach it had, and it became more of like a teaching tool, and it ran on the NASDAQ screen in Times Square. So I just kind of blew me away, like how well that worked. And so we did it again this year. So that was really rewarding. And a learning experience. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So
Yeah.
kind of speaking of that and speaking to young people and stuff like that, are youth a big part of your work? Are you thinking about that kind of connection with inspiring and informing youth of the work of NASA? And if so, are youth important for NASA's mission?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're the next generation. Those are the minds that we want to inspire to come join our ranks, right? So, and I often use actually youth and children in a lot of my concepts, not only because I hope that provides a level of interest for them, but because it allows us to be more imaginative. People are so much more likely to give you artistic license when a child is involved. So I love that aspect of it. But of course, we're trying to reach everyone. So it depends on the product and who we're targeting for that specific campaign or mission at that time.
Totally. Awesome. So unfortunately, we're just about out of time, but I always like to ask my guests, and you're very unique because, of course, the work you do is art. But I'm wondering, separate from that kind of work role that you have in creating this amazing visual and graphical art, separate from that, is there any other kind of, musical aspects or other artistic practices that you do or that you just love and feel passionate about?
Sure. Actually, I play classical guitar, and I recorded the music for both of my videos. So that was a fun way to kind of integrate that into my, work life.
Oh, that is so awesome. That's so great. So, and this is what I love, and of course, what our show is all about, but how all of these different arts disciplines interact, and of course, how the arts intersect with all of the STEM fields, and which you are showing every day. Jenny Mottar, thank you for helping us gain knowledge through the lens of creativity here on Artful Science.
Thanks so much, Erin. It was a joy.